Many interesting matches and many talking points to discuss over the weekend regarding the title race. But let's start with Liverpool. Zach, what were your thoughts on their performance?
Well, I don't think it was a particularly good performance as such, because Wolves caused us a lot of problems early doors. We struggled to retain possession throughout, but we got the job done. And the best teams, they get the job done when they're not playing at their best. Salah scored once again, and Konate scored a decent header. Not the best goalkeeping from Sam Johnson.
No, yeah.
And had a little sort of blunder with him and Alisson where the communication wasn't quite right. But overall, a decent performance from Liverpool. Nothing to write home about, but they got the job done. But what will pay us dividends massively this season is the attacking depth that we have. We have Salah, Jota, Diaz, Nunes, Gakpo, Chiesa. We have so much quality within that attacking third that when you look at Arsenal and City, do they have the same amount of quality? City maybe, Arsenal I don't think so, but the attack is where we're at, and yeah, it's going to be a big asset for us moving forward. But yeah, not the best performance of Liverpool, but certainly not a bad one. But Chelsea beating Brighton 4-2, and they sit fourth on the table at the moment. What are your thoughts on them?
Well, what result it was for Chelsea. Cole Palmer on fire, scoring 4 goals all in the first half. Wonderful goals as well. A fantastic free kick. And once again, I don't think Chelsea will be part of the title race, but if they want to be in a top 4 battle, which many people didn't expect them to be, Palmer's going to be that guy to get them through it. And he's shown it once again that he is Chelsea's main man, and he's here to, well, make an absolute sort of, what's the word for it? Make a second season
impact, because some people were questioning, is he a one season wonder? Will he be able to put up the same numbers as he did last campaign? And I think he's on 5 or 6 goals in the league now, and scoring 4 goals. I don't think any player in Premier League history has scored 4 goals in an opening half or a half of football, so he's definitely proven his worth.
Fantastic for Chelsea.
But I looked through the stats, and what surprised me was he had 0 successful dribbles throughout the 90 minutes, which does seem quite surprising considering he scored 4 goals, but then again, he's not the most technically gifted player in terms of dribbling.
No.
His best attributes are passing and finishing. 17 accurate passes throughout the match, which isn't a load, but still good. And he's created 4 chances on top of his 4 goals, showcasing how, although he can still score 4 goals, he's still setting up opportunities for his teammates. And Chelsea, like you said, don't think they would be in the title race this season, but they're certainly proving their worth under Maresca, and they will show that they will be a threat to whoever they play.
I think they're definitely in for a top 4 shout. Like you said, maybe not title race, but having Nottingham Forest next, which is a big game, but after that is Liverpool at Anfield. That'll be a really good game.
I'm looking forward to that game, because they're going to certainly cause us problems because of the amount of quality players they have, but in reality, we should get the job done.
Agreed.
And the other team that is obviously involved within the title race, how could they not, is Arsenal, beating Leicester 4-2. And on paper, that looks like a decent win for Arsenal, nothing special, but when you delve a little bit deeper, it was squeaky bum time a lot of the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they were heading for a 2-2 draw, and luckily the Trossard goal, well, actually it was Trossard goal, it's actually Ndidi own goal was counted on here, and Havertz scoring to make it 4. That was obviously when Leicester
Play to Arsenal score.
But obviously, it was almost a draw, and to me, listen, fantastic win, I get that, beating Leicester, and they're not a bad side, but to me, Leicester are, they're sort of a relegation side.
If you're just scraping a win against them, and look at Liverpool last season under Klopp. I know different players, different management and stuff, but we were winning games late so often throughout the early part of the season.
It takes so much energy.
And it took its toll, and by the end of the season, it was starting to catch up on us, and we weren't really killing games off, and we weren't getting found out. And I'm not saying Arsenal are like that, because I do think this Arsenal is better than the Liverpool of last season, but you don't want to be winning games late all the time.
Well, no, I agree with that. And I would say, on the one-off, winning that Leicester game late, if that is the case, I'd say that's fair enough. That's fine. It's just sort of maybe a funny game that they had. And
they're like us against Forest.
Yeah, exactly. And they managed to get the win in the end, which is perfect. But if they do carry on like this, there's a very big similarity between this season and the 22-23 season, where they kept scoring last-minute goals, and it takes so much energy out of them, and you cannot do that during a title race, because especially when they got Champions League 100%. Football as well, because that season they only had Europa League, whereas this season they got Champions League football. You cannot be relying on last-minute winners and this and that to get you through a title race. You have to be convincing with your games. And I know when people say, when you get results and play bad, that's the sign of a champions. I agree. But
it is to an extent, but not.
Look at the last couple of seasons. Arsenal performed badly or not great, and they've got results, and they still haven't won the league. So I think you need to be convincing. You need to really make a statement. And if
put together a string of victories.
Exactly, yeah. And if they do that, and if they do that convincingly, I'd say they're fair play. But if they're doing it like this, I don't see them winning the league, and I would be shocked if they get anywhere near City in terms of beating them for the title, because City are very composed. You see how I know they drew today.
They control games a lot better, City.
Yeah,
how often do we see City win late? Very rarely, because they got the job done by 65, 70 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And Arsenal at the moment aren't quite like that. It's sort of a very hectic game, which is good for the neutral, but from an Arsenal point of view, it's not what you want to be seeing 100%. If you're trying to go for a title.
Well, when you look at City and Liverpool back under their peak years under Klopp and Pep, they were just so consistent. I think Liverpool and City both registered 18 wins on the bounce at one stage. And I just don't think that Arsenal team are capable of producing that. And I'm not saying you have to win a title, because City have won the title in recent years without
of course,
wins on the spin. But when Liverpool were facing City, that's the lengths that they had to go to get over the line. And like you said, Arsenal winning late consistently and not really killing games off. And don't get me wrong, they are a good team for the most part in terms of killing games off and controlling games. But we have seen them maybe far too many times compared to City win games late because they haven't got the job done. And it just hasn't really been a composed performance from them. I
agree. And I think the next two games says a lot in the Premier League. This is not Champions League. And the next two games, they've got Southampton at home and Bournemouth away. If they can win them convincingly, I'd say that's fair enough, and they should do, you're right. And if they do that convincingly, I'd say, okay, fair play, that Leicester game was just a one-off, you managed to get a win, good on you, got 3 points.
Bournemouth and especially Southampton.
If you're doing that against Bournemouth and Southampton, it can obviously change because we're in the season,
but
it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good for the start of the season. And after that, they got Liverpool as well at home, which would be a massive game for the title race. So that's the thing. If you're heading into the Liverpool game with last minute winners against arguably relegation sides for the most part. Squad. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't be confident in them beating Liverpool if they're just scraping wins. On the most part, I think Arsenal have done pretty decent to get a win, but it's not good signs for Arteta if they carry on this way.
For City, though, a draw, not the best result for them. Kyle Walker maybe at fault for one of the goals again. What are your thoughts on him and City at the moment?
I think Kyle Walker, I did a tweet, I think Kyle Walker is starting to become a bit of a defensive liability for Man City. I know it's only a couple of games because he had against Arsenal today, and I'm sure he definitely can rebuild his form and he can become better, but because of his age...
He's 34, 35 now?
Yeah, he's getting on, and I feel like it's very rare that he's going to improve, and I feel like as age does, you're going to decline in your career, and I feel like Kyle Walker's at that part right now, and because Rodri's injured, Rico Lewis has been playing in that midfield role, so you kind of have to play Walker. If you take Lewis out, like Pep this is obviously, if you take Lewis out of the midfield role and puts him right back, you can obviously put Kyle Walker on a bench, but if you're continuing to play Lewis in the midfield role, you would then have to play Walker, and to me, that's not a good sign for Man City.
Well, he hasn't really lost his legs because I saw him beat Joe Willock to the ball like nothing. Joe Willock's about 12 years younger than him. But then at the same time, I know what you mean. He's going to be a bit of a defensive liability. But if he's still got his legs, then in reality, he shouldn't really drop off too much because players lose their legs first.
Yeah.
They lose their sort of ability to win challenges. But then at the same time, Kyle Walker, throughout his career, he has never been a fantastic defender. I know people like to say, he's pocketed Vinicius and Mane and Hazard. But in reality, his pace gets him out of a lot of situations. If you actually watch him in terms of being a defensive fullback, he's not quite at it. He's not actually much better than Trent from a defensive point of view. But he's still a quality fullback, and it'd be interesting for City moving forward because, like you said, that big gaping hole that Rodri leaves in midfield, how do they fill it? Do they put Kovacic and Gundogan, Kovacic and Rico Lewis? Do they put Stones in that position? Yes, they've got alternatives, but we all know how good Rodri is, and he is the catalyst in this City team. So to not have him for the rest of the season,
it's going to be difficult.
Good for Arsenal and Liverpool when they're looking at it and going, if City are going to be a bit weaker, but how will City cope with this challenge?
I think they'll certainly struggle because Rodri is one of the best players in the world, and
I think he is.
Yeah, exactly, and he's definitely City's best player going on form at the moment. So I think it's a massive miss for City to miss Rodri. The fact he's out for the season as well, not even a couple of months. And we've seen City's form without Rodri. Obviously, I don't know the stats fully, but we've seen
he misses a few games, and they almost look like a shadow of their former selves.
And against Newcastle as well, they struggled to break him down, and I feel like that's missing De Bruyne as well, of course, but also Rodri in that midfield role, and they didn't really. They couldn't break Newcastle down. They got a goal, but it wasn't enough. It was very similar to the Arsenal game where Newcastle they weren't parking a bus, but they were sitting in, and City was struggling to break them down, and Newcastle would hit them on the counter.
Well, like you said with De Bruyne's injury as well, if Liverpool and Arsenal are looking at can we win the league this season, the fact that De Bruyne is... I would say he's becoming injury prone.
Yeah,
he's always had injury throughout his career, but he's getting to that age now. His legs aren't quite what they once were. Rodri's out for the season. It's almost inevitable that Stones will pick up an injury at some point.
Yeah.
They lost Julian Alvarez in the summer. Yes, they gained Gundogan, but you're looking at this City team and you're thinking, as a Liverpool fan like me, or if you're an Arsenal fan, or even a Chelsea fan, but don't think they'll win the league, but you're looking from afar that this is probably the best time to go for the title, the best time for us to put a string of performances together when City aren't quite at it.
Yeah.
They drew against Inter Milan 0-0. They drew against Newcastle 1-0. They just beat Watford 2-1. Yes, City is still the quality side. They've got so many good players that they won't fall off completely this season, but I don't see them running away with the league. And
I agree.
That does bode well for Arsenal and Liverpool. And I really hope that maybe we can push, because
think
I'd
you
rather
can.
be chasing Arsenal than City.
Yeah.
I know Arsenal are a very good team and their defence is rock solid.
They're not
but
like City in the Prem at the moment in recent years.
when City are there, 5 points ahead of you, you're thinking they're not going to slip up.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Arsenal will slip up this season, because you think third time lucky they would get the job done. But if they are there and they're 5 points ahead, you're always thinking, you never know with
Is it
Arsenal.
possible? Yeah, with
they
City.
haven't got that sort of pedigree like City have and
Exactly.
Pep has. So,
Exactly.
ultimately, it will come down to key moments this season, I think, in between individual battles between Liverpool, Arsenal and City. But from an overall perspective, and you're looking at it from afar, you're thinking, can City string the amount of wins together that they need without Rodri, De Bruyne, maybe if Stones gets injured, all the other absentees they have?
And I think it's a bold statement to say this, right? But I do think, in a way, I don't think it's Liverpool's to win, but I do think with City's massive injury to Rodri and De Bruyne becoming more injury prone, this league, in a way, is Arsenal's to win, because if they don't win it this season, I don't know when they're going to win it, because they're going to get Rodri back next season.
Although
they'll be even better.
Pep may leave in the summer and then they may give
that's true,
them a chance next season. But I know what you mean
true.
in
But
terms of at the moment.
Yeah, if Pep stays, which we don't know, if Pep does continue to stay, this is Arsenal's best chance to beat City to the title, because City have got massive players out. They're not performing at the best. So
And
Arsenal
although Liverpool are
have to
good,
capitalise on
and
that.
while I'm watching us, I'm thinking, we're playing very well. Those defensive issues that we had under Klopp last season are almost eradicated due to slot style of play. But then at the same time, I'm thinking, do we really have the credentials to win the title? Maybe, maybe not. Obviously, I'm going to sit here as a Liverpool fan and go, we can do it, because I'm going to be optimistic and I'm going to have a little bit of bias involved.
Yeah.
But in terms of, do I really think we can? I do think we're maybe a signing or two away. Maybe can we rely on Gravenberch for the season, or if he gets an injury? I'm not too sure, because Endo's not the most proficient in slot system. If Van Dijk gets injured, what do we do? Because he's by far and away our best centre-back. So I'm looking at it going, maybe, maybe not. But as an Arsenal fan, you've got to be looking at this and going, we have to win the league this season.
Yeah.
No questions asked. Let us know down below who you think will win the title. Will it be Arsenal or City, or could it be Liverpool or Chelsea? Let us know down below, and comment down below your thoughts on today's performances from all of those 4 teams. Who has impressed you? Who have you looked at and gone, ooh, they're a little bit shaky, or ooh, I didn't expect that? Comment down below your thoughts. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like button and the subscribe button for more content just like this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.